Hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a beautiful piece of wood. I assume that's cherry burl or something.
Yeah.
And look at this shape. If you look at this shape and you think about the whatever the 1/3, 2/3 sort of thing that we had going on, it's not necessarily there, but it's still a nice shape. It's almost a 50-50 sort of thing going on. Depends on where the bottom ends up and what the bottom ends up being. But that's still a very attractive shape.
Just making that with a collar on it too.
Like a whole, like instead of another piece of wood up
Yeah.
there? Yeah, I think that could be nice.
Like with it.
Yeah.
Finish the insides.
Yep. I definitely finished the bottom a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah. It doesn't set too good on that small.
No, that little, well, it could
It's
be.
not gonna work on the vacuum truck.
It might.
But that's a really pretty piece where the wood has a lot to say. And you just gotta put it really good. When the wood has a lot to say like this and has so much going on, nice simple shape, nice simple form really seems to work out well. So, nice work, looks good. Nice little natural edge bowl. You know, the thing that I like about this is that there's, he didn't or she didn't line it up so that both sides are exactly the same height. Kind of just went with the flow and let it be whatever it was. And I like that aspect of it. Nice simple foot on it, nothing fancy there. But it's pretty. Who did this one?
The cotton girl.
It's pretty. The one thing that when I first picked it up that I noticed is when you look inside it, it has a really kind of a cool pattern, like it's sort of exploding out the center. I lost the number. I hope that wasn't the price. Well, if it was the price, I'll
Lost my
buy it.
number? Lost my number?
What are those numbers for? What do they mean?
It's just the word of us.
Okay.
What kind of wood is that?
Photos already
Cotton
been taken,
burl is
right?
which then?
Already been taken.
So the photos already been taken,
So I don't have to worry about it. I'm not in trouble. You're not going to kick me out. Good. Not till Sunday, huh?
That's what
he say?
Last time you just-
Anyway, I think that's a nice piece. Well done.
Right. Bravo.
I'm gonna stick with a couple of little burl theme here that we got going on, or kind of a gnarly wood. Yeah, I just love stuff like this. If that was sitting in my shop, I'd look at it for probably 15 years. Look, I do have pieces like this sitting in my shop. What am I ever gonna do with that? But this person, I don't know, who is this one?
This is mine.
You again? Just decided to go for it.
No, Bill, about 5 years ago, I spend all summer at the West Coast.
Uh-huh.
And if you've ever walked the West Coast, it's a lot different than the East Coast. It's just absolutely full of driftwood.
Yeah.
And Bill Wallace, who's not in our club, but who works with a lot of us, Bill turns driftwood, and I bring the driftwood back. And that particular piece there had a big old long stem on it, big enough to make a walking stick. And when I cut it off, I said, wow, I think this one will make a nice little driftwood bowl.
Yeah, I like that. That turned out really cool. And I mean, there's different ways to display something like this too. You put some sort of a stand on it, get displayed on a mantle like that. Could be interesting as well. That's a cool piece of wood. Have fun with it. It's not too heavy. And then the carving down here, was that intentional? Did you?
Yeah, because that's where I saw the other thing
Uh-huh.
off. So it's not finished, but
Yeah. It might be cool if you use that same carving texture on all
I think we might do that.
the cutoff areas there. Yeah, just see how that looks.
Now, when you finish that ball, would you just finish the circular depression? Would you finish the gray area?
That's a good question. You know, it depends on what you like, but I'd be tempted to just finish the turned area, see what it looks like. The only thing you can do then is decide to finish it all. But then when you put finish on this natural area, it's not going to look quite as natural because it's going to be maybe a little, I don't know what finish you're going to use, but maybe going to be a little bit glossy. And I think it may lose some of that cool old roughness if you put finish on it. But then again, it might not. This is one of those pieces where you can't do a series of them.
Can't put it together.
Limited edition of one.
Limited edition. That's a really nice little vessel too. Natural edge. Again, a nice piece of wood. Whose is this one?
Monty.
The finish on here is this finish is awesome. What are you using for finish?
Sealacell, clear, the red rebel.
Uh-huh. I don't like real glossy stuff. I'll just put that right out there so you guys can know where I'm coming from. This one, I feel like I can feel the wood, but I know there's a real high quality finish on it, and it looks really nice. And if I'm looking at that, looking at the foot, looking at the top of it, everything, I think the foot's a great size, in a great shape. Yeah, I think that's real nice. Trying to think of something to improve on next time. Just make some more like that. That's beautiful.
There's kind of like there's a pro foot and an anti-foot cam.
Yeah, there is. And I'm not in either.
A lot of folks love them, and a lot of folks say you almost never do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not in either camp, but if you took the foot off of that, I think it would still be nice.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. I mean, he could take the foot off altogether, have a rounded bottom that would rock around a little bit, which would be fine. Or he could just take the foot off and put a dimple in the bottom so it sat level on something. And that'd be fine as well. I think in this particular piece it would work either way because it's raw and usually on raw pieces like this where there's lots of bark and stuff, I say simple foot really works well, and that's simple. I don't know.
A lot of your slides show your vessels on their side.
They are.
Do you have a foot there, or do you just
I
photograph them on their side?
used to not have a foot there, but they were meant to be on their sides. Didn't work so good all the time because pieces would roll around a little bit, and people were really scared if they spent $1,000 on a piece and they set it on the table and it
And it
was like
started
this.
to rock.
And they'd be like, oh, that's not very good. So what I started doing is standing flat and then carving. I took it and I looked at it the way I wanted to put it on the belt sander, sand it flat, and then I dished it out and kind of carved the sides and made it look like it was actually meant to be there, the foot. And then they had a place to put it and it was stable. So they look almost identical when they're being displayed, but the one is much more stable. The reason I have them on their side like that is a lot of people will display pieces like this on a mantle or something. And when you display a piece like this on a mantle, not necessarily this one, you don't see a lot of the cool stuff. Put it at an angle like this, you start to see the cool stuff. And I have a lot of carving and stuff at the top of those vessels in that little insert that I spend a lot of time making. So it really made sense for those particular pieces, but it doesn't for everything. These are cool.
They're meant to be different.
They are different.
They're not segmented. In fact, that never had intended or any way to hold it.
And I love that.
Okay.
And I love that they're not symmetrical. There's off-center stuff going on too. And I love that they don't have to be just put on the table like a normal thing does too, especially this one.
Right, that has even more
This one.
accesses on that.
Yeah.
Because they're not, nothing is round, really.
I like them. And nothing is even, I mean, on this one, the angle runs through it too, so everything's sort of off-center.
Not everybody notices that.
Which is really cool. If you look at that, the pattern's not in center on the top or on the bottom. And but he's using that to his advantage. And he's playing with a number of different axes here. In carving and kind of changing the angles.
The first one you picked up used 2 screws on 2 chuck joints. So so it was a little bit dangerous. But
Uh-huh.
the second one, I used 4 screws and 4 charge
What's the, which is 1, 2, 3, 4? What's
Oh, the first one was
progression
actually
here?
the one closest to the little wall.
This one,
And
okay.
we had a single layer of lasered and dyed wood sandwich. Then the second one we did was this red one. This one.
You blew through the bottom. Admit it, you blew through the bottom.
Intentionally, actually. Yeah, no, that's right. Mike's absolutely right. On the first one, I did the top, and I left some of the maple showing in the bottom. And both Matt and I liked that, and we showed it around. And then I decided to finish the bottom yesterday. And I'm turning, it's now, I can't see the top anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been a couple of weeks, so I'm turning the bottom, saying if I go a little deeper, I'll see the pattern. But I forgot.
There was maple at the bottom.
That the pattern was already gone on the top. So sure enough, funnel. And now I'm not sure what to do with it.
Now it's art.
Yeah. That's actually what my wife said. Which I was really surprised. But Mike's right. It was kind of an intentional. I was going to go for the pattern, and it was just too late when I saw it.
I got one too.
We all have these.
Yeah.
If they could all be this nice, we'd be in good shape.
No.
Again, this is another one of these with the pattern kind of.
Now this one is 2 layers of 2 colors. One's the black and yellow layer, and the other is the red and yellow layer.
And they match
They're
up.
sandwiched, yeah. But they're lasered, so they're exactly the same.
Uh-huh.
And then they're sandwiched between 2 1-inch solid pieces of maple, and then turned.
I think it's cool. Do you have a laser machine, or are you borrowing a
I
friend?
have access to one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's lots of potential there.
Oh my goodness, we're just scratching the surface. The idea of pulling out one of the 2 pieces and putting it in a Ziploc bag with some alkaline dye for a day to a week, depending on how much of that marbling you want to take, that's 1 day. And we get about 50% marbling. If you leave it in for a week, it would probably be solid black or solid red. But I'm not sure it's more interesting solid it is marble.
It could be interesting to see what it does, just for an experiment.
Yeah.
But I kind of like being able to see the wood. Whenever I color wood, I try, not all the time, but I try and let you see the wood, because we're working with a cool material already. So if you can add to it a little bit with color, but still let you see the wood, that's a neat thing. But how thick are you able to cut through with that machine?
3/8, that's 3-inch solid.
And that's about as thick as it'll do?
This is a 90-watt laser, so if we go much thicker, we'll get more of a burned kerf,
Yeah.
which means when we glue it, the kerf will look like black. It will almost look like black veneer
Yeah.
around each thing. But you also take a chance of having some bubbles. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, well, that's really fun to experiment with. And I can see him coming up with different ideas to play with for a long time with these patterns.
Well, some of these folks have seen the bases
Uh-huh.
and the polyforms. They're like 27 levels.
Oh, cool.
But that's a completely different idea than a slice.
The only critique I might have for this is that I can see the jaw marks where you.
Oh, yeah, I left them
this.
on intentionally.
Okay.
Because even the wood turners. Yeah.
Have you met the engineer?
The wood turner, they asked me a lot of questions of how did you hold it, and I just pointed at the jaw, I'm like, oh, yeah, I see how that is. The jaws on a number 4 jaws only go to 5 inches. That's 6.
Yeah.
That's when I moved to the outer spool.
So next time someone asks me about jaw marks around the bottom, I say, so I can show you
Oh, yeah, sure.
how I put that on the layer. I know, I like that. That's good. No, beautiful. Nice work.
Talk we get your new center
Yeah. Speaking of putting stuff together, whole different process here, but this is a beautiful platter. See, well, that's the problem. The maker of everything He's always going to tell you the faults of it before anything. The first thing he said is it's too thick. If I was somebody looking at it and maybe wanting to buy it, would you tell them it's too thick? That's good. But it is a really nice piece. It probably could be a little bit thinner if you wanted to. And but the segmenting, I'm not an expert in segmenting, but I love the color pattern you got going on here. And I don't see any gaps or anything that would make me think that.
No, it's carefully constructed.
Yeah, made me think that it wasn't just top-notch quality. I like the finish on it again too.
You have to put your block oil.
It's not fancy glossy, it's just nice and simple, which is not real common for segmented stuff. Most of the segmented stuff I see has a really high gloss, sort of a fancy finish on it.
Was this one new lathe?
I like this.
This one is new lathe? Really? It took about 2 days, 3 days to make the jigs just to cut the pieces.
Sure.
I like the patterns too.
That's supposed to be a Starbucks first pattern.
It's cool. Nice. One thing I'd suggest that if I was to say anything to do different next time would be to the middle kind of has a dip in the middle. And if we could get that a little flatter or more a consistent curve so it doesn't dip all at once, it would be even more fantastic. Nice piece though. Very good. Square edge bowl. Wow, who's this?
That's mine. That's Chris. It's an experiment. It's a square and exotic wood.
Very nice.
So
That's-
Cody.
It's a pretty wood and the pattern. I don't know if you spent any time laying it out, but it sure looks like you spent time
Just
laying
wanted
it
to
out.
keep it flat. Just kind of
Yeah.
so when you go into it, it's oriented.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that you at least thought about that. And I think it really pays off in this particular piece, the way that the grain lays out. And I like that a lot. Now, I don't know how you held that because there's no jaw marks on the outside.
It's a mystery.
It's beautiful. Very nice. I was just kidding you. I'm not kidding.
Oh, I know. I could have sanded them off, but.
And the line in there, beautiful, smooth line. And if you look at the edges, it's a consistent thickness all the way through. I don't know how many of you have done a natural, not a natural edge, but a square edge bowl. It's hard to get the thickness the same all the way through because you're actually, here is a different part of the wood than here. You know, if you fall down all the way around, so you got to turn the same thickness all the way through to get that. That's really nice. Well done, Chris. And a wine stopper ornament.
Big bottle of wine.
That's for the gallon judge.
That's one of those big bottles you see at the restaurants. Who made this one?
I did. It's
Beautiful.
getting Christmas time, so I started
Yeah.
making Christmas ornaments. And that's one of those segmented inside out.
Uh-huh. It's very cool, and I like the red. The red he put in there, it's not overwhelming. It doesn't throw me off and say, oh, that's gaudy. But it's just nice and simple and a little sparkle, a little Christmassy. I think that's cool. That would be one fancy bottle of wine that you put this on the top. That's $100. And this would be one really big bottle of wine that you put this on.
That opens up.
Oh, I better not
Yeah, let's
pick it up.
Yeah,
Is it going to fall apart?
No, let's just center on it. It'll come.
I got to put it down. Lift this up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. Walk. Turn around. Oh. That is pretty cool. Flash Gordon, you guys ever watch Flash Gordon? I seriously think Flash Gordon was. Did you see Flash Gordon?
Yeah.
You were influenced many years ago by old TV shows. Oh, that's super cool. I like that. Does it go just one way or?
Oh, either way.
Yeah, that's cool.
Go one way.
And that's something that you could Put something really neat inside so they're surprised when they open it up.
$100
You
bill.
put in,
Yeah.
There was $100 bill in it earlier.
I lost another number.
It's got one problem. Shouldn't tell this.
Woodworker
When you
Jones
put it
problems.
between centers, the miters on the ends are 45, so when you put it in the center, it forces the one side up a little bit. I mean, these all match,
Perfect when you turned it.
but when you take it out of the center, you lose, it just comes in a touch. And
There's little
If I-
problems with everything you do, and if you can figure a way to combat that.
If I do another one.
Yeah.
Right, but
I don't think it really necessarily detracts from it,
it was.
unless you were trying to hide that it was actually a box.
Yeah, it was perfect before.
And you had a $100 bill in there or whatever. No, that's cool. Nice.
I did it.
And,
More segmented stuff. Tell me about this one.
Everybody's got to it.
I like it. Whose is it yours?
No, no, no.
It's yours.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I love, very few people would segment wood like that. And
That's a good thing.
I think that it's very unique in that respect.
That'd be fireworks.
It's true. And how did you segment such wormy and holy and crazy wood?
I bought a block that was like that in Turned, and the first one blew apart.
There you go. So then you,
So I had to put, after I cut it, I had to put super glue all around them again to keep it holding.
interesting. See, we make something cool from our mistakes sometimes, don't we? I think that's really neat. I have a friend that lives not too far from me, Kurt Theobald. You might have heard of him. He does some awesome segmented stuff. And he once segmented a piece out of madrone, green madrone. You know what madrone does? It warps like crazy. But it was super cool because he glued it and it sort of held together, but it popped apart in some spots. And I think he called it his shipwreck series. And it seriously looked like a segmented piece that had been submerged in the ocean for thousands of years, and they unearthed it, and that's what it looked like. So, you never know. Cool, nice work. More bowls. Simple shape, some inlay. Whose is this?
Mine,
Tell me about it.
been in my shop for 3 years, didn't know what to do with it.
So you finally did
So I
something.
started turning on it and changed my mind half a dozen times of the shape, but I'm still not quite happy with it.
You know what I really like about this piece? Is that he didn't care that there was chainsaw marks on the top. I assume they're chainsaw marks. I assume you didn't make those
Yeah.
check marks. I like that. You just left those marks there. That adds a lot to, in my opinion, to that piece. That off kilter top with the rough surface. It's pretty cool. Cherry again, I believe.
Cherry burl.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And the inside, if you go run your finger in here, it's a little rough. It's not real smooth, not real nice, perfect surface, but it sort of matches the chainsaw marks on the top. So it wouldn't necessarily bother me.
I think I hit a soft spot, just that's where the start is, and it just said,
I've had them that go before too. A little bowl here. What do we got here?
Oh, here.
Nice. What kind of wood we got?
Ambrosia.
That's cool. Simple little form. If we're talking about the 1/3, 2/3 thing, this is not that again. It's right in the center. Almost just a nice little spear there. Closed in around the lip. Did some nice detail around the bottom. I don't see any chuck marks in there, so I'm That's another number.
I made my
Numbers are falling like crazy. And there's some cracks that have the color in them. It's cool looking, that piece, so. Nice, neat, fun. Another bulb. Here's two. Different shape altogether. Obviously a different kind of wood.
I don't know what the wood is. I wasn't sure if it was some kind of walnut.
Yeah, I don't think walnut, my guess would be a maple, like a silver maple or something.
Probably a little round.
But I get a lot of silver maple in my area. I don't know if you guys get much silver maple here.
We don't have any silver maple, we just have red.
Okay.
It looks like sweet gum. They're called liquid what?
Kind of a nice little bulb.
Amber. Liquid amber.
On the west coast.
On the west coast, they're called liquid amber.
Now yours too? No. Who's this one? Again, nice little bulb. Some vaulted stuff going on. Again, nice little pattern on the bottom. Nice simple shape. Oh, nice finish. Let you see the wood. Sign your work.
Sign your work.
Didn't get to that.
Another sort of, it's really not segmented. It's just glued layers on there, huh? Whose is this one?
Mine.
It's very nice. Is that veneer in between the layers there too? That little
Yes, little
thin layer of
maple.
white?
Maple veneer.
Maple?
I think that adds a lot.
I think so too. I think without that, it wouldn't be as successful. I think that sets those layers apart very nicely and gives it a lot of detail that it wouldn't have otherwise. Nice.
That's mine, it's still got some wax on it. I haven't cleaned it up yet. I just finished burning it last weekend.
I like it a lot.
What do you look like?
It doesn't, does it? It's really something that I think I would see in Africa or something. Real, I don't know how to say it. Yeah.
Maple, same that he's turning up in front.
And the pattern on there is very interesting. You can get lost in it. I don't know if this is a catch or anything on here that you burned through.
I did that on purpose. You wouldn't believe how many I had to do to get the one right. That was like the 12th one.
This group is good. Without that catch, this piece would be nothing. With that catch, it's extremely successful. How many did you have before that just weren't right?
Oh, I probably caught about 2 or 3 dozen.
Yeah, that's it. You finally got it. Good. Good for trying. Keep it with it. No, it's a cool pattern. It's a neat project. And I think that's the possibilities are endless with what you could do with the burning designs and patterns in there. If you have patience, I mean, it probably took you longer to burn this than it did to turn it, no?
I don't think it took maybe 45 minutes.
Pretty good at burning stuff. You've been burning stuff for a while.
No, I think that's cool. I like it. Keep trying that stuff. See what comes with it. Have you been doing that kind of stuff for a while, or?
I just built that burn. I used to just use a torch, and I've refined the torch down to a wire.
There you go. Nice base. Wow, that's a beautiful chunk of wood. Well done. Finish is nice. Shape is beautiful. Foot's a good size. Whose is it?
Chris.
Chris again?
That's
It's yours?
The signature finish.
Yeah, it's finishing great. And the inside of this is just as nice as the outside.
Thank you.
Chris, how many coats?
One coat, well coated until it's fully saturated.
And then do you buff it on the lathe?
Buff
or-
it, no, I just buff it with 4-0 steel wool, and then I just hold it on a cloth buffing wheel with no compounding.
And
Yep.
what's the finish? It's a mix of what?
Tell us again the finish you were using.
Seal a cell,
Seal cell.
red label. Yep.
How do you do the inside? How do you get
Just get your hand in there and just work on it.
If you guys haven't put your hand in this guy's vessel, you have to. This is nice in there. Beautiful. Great piece of wood.
Yeah, well, saturated thoroughly.
Good shape.
Until it doesn't soak in anymore. About 20, 30 minutes, and then I'll wipe it.
How about this one?
Wiping it for a couple hours.
Rocket ship.
Yeah, who did this one?
I did.
More Buck Rogers.
I like the legs.
Very delicate.
I really like how it sort of suspends it and holds it up. The idea is really neat. Is it a box or is it all solid?
No, it's hollow.
Will it open or not?
No.
Is it glued? It's glued shut.
Very nice.
I think that's very cool.
Thank you.
I keep doing some stuff like that. The only thing I would maybe say to look at in the future, again, I like the finish. I like a lot of stuff. I'm not sure why you just flatten the bottom on that.
I ran out of wood.
There was that purpose.
I've done that before too. It's kind of like the catch. You shouldn't have said you ran out of wood. You should have said, I like really flat bottoms. I tried really hard to get that flat bottom. But I think it would be more successful if it came down to a point or something. But I totally understand. Better to have that than a hole in the bottom.
Well, that's what I thought.
Because these are down to such a delicate little point that if this came down to a delicate point too, it would be cool. Nice.
Thank you.
Big bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Take and run your hand from the center of that bowl all the way out. Perfect. Nice. Smooth all the way. Who's this? Oh, it's
Chris again.
Chris. You've been busy, Chris. He's getting bored. He's getting bored.
Chris doesn't sleep, apparently.
What kind of wood is it? Looks good. What do we got? Spalted maple or something? Or
Yeah, ambrosia, spalted maple.
yeah, that's just a really nice bowl. Nothing we can say much more about that. I'll give you $3 for it. The price says 18 in there, right? I'll trade. Wow, this thing's light. That's thin. An amazing piece of wood. Boy, look at that piece of wood.
I have no idea what kind it was.
Is this yours?
Yeah, somebody gave me a blanket, was only about 1.8 inches thick.
Is it a domestic wood? You have no idea. It could be whatever. Anybody know? You know, it looks a lot, there's a lace wood sort of look to it, but I don't think it's a lace wood. It's got a burl behind that pattern. Yeah. That's amazing. Whatever it is, and you did it justice for sure by having such a flat, nice surface. Just make something up. Get a stand like that. That'd be awesome to stand up or something to show off that. What's the finish?
Just
I think that's a super nice piece. Yeah, and I mean right across the bottom. Some species of trees that doesn't exist. So you guys are doing good work. Sign your work. I told a couple people to sign their work because I think it's important. Not from a standpoint of.
Yeah, one more.
Is that basin, the basin? Right.
Oh, I missed one. Thank you. What is that? Sorry, I missed it. It's not that it wasn't good that I missed it.
I told him you were saving the best for the last.
Look at that form. Just nice, really simple line. Nice curve all the way through. No flat spots, no bumps, no humps. That's hard to do in a taller form like this.
You could get the hand inside the center.
I'm not going to reach in there, so don't worry. What do you think about the size of the foot on that? I don't think he could have gone any smaller, really. The size of the foot sort of matches the size of the opening.
What's the wood? River birch.
That's beautiful. Nice finish, too. Nice, simple.
Would it look better without the lip on the top?
It would look different.
I mean, was that I don't know.
It would look different. I kind of like the lip on the top.
Yeah.
I did one where I curved it in more. Like that. I did not like it just
Straight up. So you didn't like it to look just like that?
Yeah.
More or less. Cool. Looking for the signature. Oh, that brings me back to the point I was going to make just a minute ago. Sign your work, not because you need to, but because it's just important. You know, if it gets handed down to your kids or whatever, where it goes, it's nice to have a record of whose it is. And I encourage you to date it too. Dating is something that's tricky for me because I sell my work, and if I date it, and I hang on to it for a little while because I like it, somebody looks at it down the line when I decide, okay, I'm ready to let go. This was from 2006. Why is it still around? Nobody wanted it. Exactly, nobody wanted it. I just wasn't ready to sell it in 2006. So that's something you got to think about there. But I definitely encourage you to sign and date your work. If you don't want to be in a sticky situation like that, you might code your date somehow if you are selling your work. So you know when it was made, but nobody else really knows how to read it. That's true. Any other questions about the instant gallery? I encourage everybody to bring stuff in. I know everybody didn't bring any stuff in, but it's a really good thing to share what you're making and let your peers see your work and have fun with it. We got some work to do over there, though.